welcome to the Money Matters EmpowerHer podcast, where we're redefining what financial independence looks like for women. I'm your host, Donna Cates, and each week we'll dive into powerful stories, expert strategies, and practical tools to help you take charge of your financial future. The women sharing their journeys here aren't just telling stories, they're change makers. Their experiences, strategies, and financial outlooks carry real power to inspire transformation in your own life. Whether you're planning for retirement, navigating a divorce, or simply looking to build your wealth with confidence, this is your space to grow, learn, and thrive. Let's get started with today's episode. Hello, and welcome to Money Matters EmpowerHer podcast, where we have honest, uplifting conversations that inspire women to grow their influence, navigate life's pivots with courage, and build a life and wealth that reflects who they really are. And I'm excited to introduce you today. I'm Donna Cates, by the way, and I'm literally honored to introduce you to Tanesha Moody, who owns Full Out Coaching. And I see she's got some company too, so we'll let her introduce her kitty to us as well. But I understand that Tanesha is doing some extraordinary work in the world, and that's why I can't wait for you to hear her story, how she got there, and what she's learned along the way, and how she's helping others rise as they grow their wealth and purpose. So let's get started, Tanesha, with the heart of it all. Please take about 90 seconds or so and tell us what it is you do, and more importantly, why you do it. What's the mission behind your work?
Thank you so much for having me, Donna. And yes, I am joined by my furry one, Kiwi. And what I have a chance to do is really help people figure out their lives. I know previously I did not know where I was supposed to be, what I was supposed to be doing, what my purpose really was, what my values were, and how I was supposed to ripple and make an impact. And having that unclarity and that confusion really kind of helped me to do the inner work of figuring out my life. And now I'm so grateful that I get a chance to help others do the same, whether that's through my coaching or speaking, writing, and really inspiring others to live their lives full out, authentically with who they are and utilizing everything that they have within them to become who they're meant to be and serve others.
And I love that. That's beautiful. And I love too that I've done a little research on you, but I love too that you blended that theater and stage management roots with the business leadership. And that's such a unique strategy. So tell us a little bit more about how your past experience is shaping what you're doing today.
Definitely. So I first started in the performing arts, first as a dancer, shifted into acting, and then eventually into stage management after coming in contact with the stage manager for Wicked on Broadway. And I didn't even know stage management was a career path until that moment. And having the chance to study theater in my undergraduate degree and then work professionally in theater was so amazing. It helped me to understand diverse backgrounds and how to work with others, how to lead others. And I feel like if you have a background in the performing arts, you have so many transferable skills that can work in so many different industries. And theater actually led me to corporate via Disney. I had the chance to work with the Disney event group, and so many things are very similar from theater to events. Events sometimes feels like theater on fire. You have an audience, you have usually a larger budget, but you have a chance to really kind of lead people with an emotional impact, just as theater does. And from Disney, I had the chance to work with different event capacities as a leader with companies such as Marriott and Under Armour and Salesforce, and building teams from scratch and figuring out how can we deliver some value and impact through events and experiences. But throughout my theater background, as well as the corporate roles that I've had the chance to hold, I realized that my favorite parts about my roles were helping others, helping them to recognize their goals, navigate their career paths, and get to where they want to be. And it's such a privilege to be able to do that now full time as an entrepreneur.
And I have to say, I think a lot of us, we're so close to what it is that we do that we can't see how what those gifts are. So having
Mhm.
somebody like you who pulls that out and helps us recognize it is really tremendous. But and you use this word several times, impact. So I want to talk about impact. How are you empowering others through the work that you're doing now? Or whether it's through your community, the people that you're working with, the people that hire you, your team members, but how are you working and impacting them to be the best versions of themselves while they're growing and building their own influence and building their wealth?
For me, I really love working with folks that are a little bit similar to myself. I would consider myself a multi-passionate individual. So I have a unique background. I've had a chance to really kind of pour into a lot of hobbies, a lot of different interests. Even right now within my business, there's a lot of different moving parts. And I love working with folks that maybe are a little bit higher in their career, um, or they're really kind of being a leader in their industry, but they also have side gigs going on or passion projects, and they're trying to figure out how to bring all of those together. And how I've had the chance to really serve those individuals and help them figure out what kind of impact that they want to create within the world is something that I call my clear method. And the clear method is all about clarifying your purpose, living your values, embodying your identity, aligning with courage, which is around navigating those hard things such as rejection and failure and fear, and then rippling your impact. This is really about how you can use all those pieces of who you are, your stories, your gifts, your talents, your experience to really help and serve others. So through the clear method, I've been able to build speaking keynotes around that, lots of writing around that, and then my coaching too, really helping people to understand what actually lights them up inside. How can they bridge those gaps between what they're doing now in terms of what they actually want to do in the future? And it's such a privilege to hold space for others, to walk with them, and to figure out what impact really means to them. What does the full out life really look like and mean to them? And how can we strategically partner to get there?
Awesome. Well, I can't help but to think that every conversation that you have is different, working with the variety of people that you do. But I'd love to hear from your perspective. What's the biggest challenge in your industry right now, especially for women, and how are you helping people navigate that?
I see some of the challenges that people are really facing are some of the internal ones, honestly. I feel like so many times we, especially as women, kind of become our worst critics. There's an inner critic inside a lot of us that sometimes prevents us to actually living full out, from doing the things that we're meant to do and really kind of authentically showing up. So, what I've really recognized in my industry and with the folks that I have a chance to work with is how can we really navigate when we are getting in our own way? I know for myself, I navigated a lot of rejection. Rejection was something that just kind of kept popping up for me. In my previous role as a director at Salesforce, I was actually laid off. And that felt like such a major rejection. And it felt like, oh my goodness, where do I go from here? Especially being in a role that I thought was going to be a long-term role for myself. And that rejection was something that I kind of took personally. It felt like it was a rejection of who I was um, at my core intrinsically. And now coming out of that, having done the inner work, worked with my own coaches, spent a lot of time with myself as well as navigating these things with God, I really started to recognize that, it was my offer that was rejected, not myself.
Mm.
And those types of reframes are the ones that I recognize that women specifically, but everybody in these industries that are challenging, that deal with a lot of hard things, are really necessary for us to flourish. Reframes around rejection, reframes about failure and fear, and making certain that any kind of voice that we have internally that's preventing us from doing the scary things are kind of put into a box as much as we can to really kind of live the life that we're meant to.
So I'm very curious to know, how do you coach people like me to on replacing that inner negative self-talk with this more positive, like using your terms of reframing?
Mhm.
What does someone like me do in order to get in that natural mindset where I'm not having to go, oops, there I go again.
Yes, it is kind of like a muscle is how I would actually describe it, but it actually starts with what you're already sharing right now. It's like the acknowledgement of, oh, this is something that I am doing that I do not like. That sometimes I feel like that's the hardest part of recognizing that, oh my goodness, like this keeps coming up and it's setting me back and I have a problem or something that I need to navigate around. Just that acknowledgement alone is steps beyond what other people really kind of take in terms of the steps that they can take. And then I feel like the next step in that is to really understand that there is always something that you can control. There's something that you can do, something that can make a difference to help you get to where you want to be in terms of reframing your mindset or living full out or doing whatever you need to do so you can navigate around some of those challenging pieces. So that acknowledgement, as well as the belief that, okay, I can actually do something, go hand in hand. And as a coach, I'm actually a certified ICF coach, and we really kind of root ourselves on these competencies around the person that is being coached is really the expert in their lives. So I don't give advice. I don't tell people what to do. I really make certain that I'm in a place where I can show up as a non-judgmental coach and help other people recognize that, oh, there's different perspectives around this. I can dance around this. I don't have to stay where I am. And it's such a privilege to watch my clients really kind of step into their own expertise and live the lives that they see fit. And maybe the reframes that I personally have might not be the ones that they need to get to where they want to be. In addition, I write about all of these things as well. And these are chances for people to expose themselves to different perspectives that they might not have considered. And then they can take the ones that they want and skip through the ones that they don't and utilize those things to really kind of continue doing that inner work to reframe whatever they need to.
And Tanesha, you mentioned your writing. Where can people find your writing?
Yes, I do actually have a blog. So, and that's on TaneshaMoody.com. Slash writing is probably the fastest way to get there, as well as some ebooks available too regarding those folks that might discover that they are multi-passionate, or the ones that need to reframe rejection or getting clear on their lives as well. I have ebooks around those things. I'm also working on a few books, one around navigating rejection, as well as one about practically figuring out your purpose. This is something that's really close to me and something that I'm very excited to bring to fruition because I recognize that a lot of people are like, yeah, just go ahead and find your purpose. And they're like, all right, well, how do I actually do that? Like, where do I start? What are the steps that I need to take? So it's such an exciting project that I'm working on to get people into like, all right, this is the formula for it so that you actually have a purpose statement that you can share when people are like, what is your purpose? You're not like trying to bring together a whole soliloquy from Hamlet and piece things together that don't make sense. You actually have something that resonates and that you can spew and that you can live as well, the most important part of it.
I love that. And I'm going to tell you from a selfish perspective, I'm going to say I probably need to talk to you more about that, the finding your purpose and defining it and using that formula, because I do work with a lot of women in transition, whether that's widowhood,
Mhm.
divorcing, leaving corporate America and starting their own businesses and such. So yeah, that'll be another powerful conversation for us to have together. Oh, I'm
Yes,
excited. I'm
please.
awesome. Well, and I would love to ask you this question. It always is interesting to hear people's responses. But if you could sit down and have lunch with any woman, living or deceased, who would that be and why? What would you love to ask her?
Immediately, the folks that came to mind were my ancestors. Um, Initially, I was thinking of my grandmothers. Both of them have passed away. And of course, as I get older, like there's even more questions that I would love to ask them that I didn't have a chance to ask them when they were alive and when I was younger, as well as like their moms too. So, like, my great grandmothers were coming up. And I feel like just if I could have a panel, I know you said one, but if I could have a panel discussion with all four of those ladies, I think that would be something that would kind of make my limited perspective of life right now even more broader, more broad as well as just more colorful in terms of like what to expect, different approaches that I can take, and how I can just kind of soak up all their knowledge of what it meant to be a woman then and how I can apply that now.
And I have to say this too. My mom is no longer living, and it's almost every day I'm thinking of something I would love to ask her wisdom, to gain her wisdom. But it's I want to encourage everybody that when people are still here, ask them the questions. Sit down and talk with them. We don't do enough of that today. And then when life happens and they're not here anymore, we're kind of regretful. So let's have those real conversations and learn what we can from those who have come before us. So awesome. Well, and I would love for you to share with our listeners. I know you shared where they could find some of your writing, but what's the best way for them to reach out to you, connect with you, possibly even hire you as a coach if they're interested? Where do they find you?
Yeah, so I do have that website, www.taneshalmoody.com. And Tanesha L. Moody is also for my social media too. So I'm on TikTok as well as Instagram, LinkedIn, Full Out Coaching at Full Out Coaching online as well for LinkedIn and Instagram. And please feel free to reach out for a discovery call or to share your latest rejection story. Like, I would love to hear all of those fun things and celebrate that no as well as celebrate some of the wins too. And yeah, I look forward to connecting with others.
That's awesome. And ladies, you have your homework. You've got a couple of steps to do. Go, and the easy thing to do is for us to all go connect with her on social media because we're all there. So let's take a minute and make that happen. But we thank you so much, Tanesha, for sharing your story with us today. Your face is just all aglow, and I feel your enthusiasm coming through the camera here. But I know that everybody's going to walk away with having feeling uplifted, if nothing else, but just empowered and reminded of how we can take experiences from all of our life and just mold it into this new thing. So awesome. We appreciate you being a guest.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for tuning in to the Money Matters Empower Her podcast. I hope today's conversation left you feeling inspired, informed, and ready to take the next step in your financial journey. Remember, building wealth isn't just about money, it's about creating a life that aligns with your goals and values. If you found this episode valuable, please subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with the women in your life who deserve financial empowerment too. Until next time, stay confident, stay empowered, and keep building the life you want.